Hello, it's time to noontime prayer. I brought the adult Bible study guide of the third quarter of 2025. It titled Exodus. It has actually certain lessons on here. Let me read through these lessons. Lesson 1, Operation, the background and the birth of Moses. Lesson 2, the burning bush. Lesson 3, rough start. 4, the plagues. 5, Passover. 6, through the Red Sea. 7, the bread and water of life. 8, covenant at Sinai. 9, living the law. 10, the covenant and the blueprint. 11, apostasy and the intercession. 12, please show me your glory. And 13, the tabernacle. Lesson 4, the last day of lesson 4, the plagues. The memory text comes from the Exodus 9:35. So the heart of Pharaoh was hard, neither would he let the children of Israel go, as the Lord had spoken by Moses. Yeah, the first day, Sunday, God versus gods, and there are questions. How can we allow the Lord to have sovereignty over any of the gods seeking supremacy in our lives? And Monday, who hardened Pharaoh's heart? So what free will choice are you going to make in the next day? Or so if you know that what the right choice is, or how can you prepare yourself to make it? And Tuesday, the first 3 flags. Think how hard Pharaoh's heart was. Repeated rejection of God's prompting only made it worse. What lessons are here for each of us about the constant rejection of the Lord's prompting? And Wednesday, flies, livestock, and voice. Pharaoh's problem wasn't intellectual. He had enough rational evidence to make a right choice. Instead, it was a problem of his heart. What should this tell us? Tell us about why we must guard our hearts? And Thursday, hail, locusts, and darkness. So what dramatic example of words pride goes before destruction, and the haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. And today is the Friday. For the thought, there are the Patriarchs and the Prophets by Ellen G. White. The Plagues of Egypt, page 265 through 272. So God's people were permitted to experience the grinding cruelty of the Egyptians, that they might not be deceived concerning the debasing influence of idolatry. In his dealing with Pharaoh, the Lord manifested his hatred of idolatry and his determination to punish cruelty and oppression. There was no exercise of supernatural power to harden the heart of the king. God gave to Pharaoh the most striking evidence of divine power, but the monarch stubbornly refused to heed the light. Every display of infinite power rejected by him rendered him the more determined in his rebellion. The seeds of rebellion that he sowed when he rejected the first miracle produced their harvest. The Patriarch and the Prophets, page 268. The sun and moon were objects of worship to the Egyptians. In this mysterious darkness, the people and their gods alike were smitten by the power that had undertaken the cause of the bondman. Yet fearful as it was, This judgment is an evidence of God's compassion and his unwillingness to destroy. He would give the people time for reflection and repentance before bringing up them the last and most terrible of the plagues. Patriarchs and Prophets, page 272. There are two discussions. Number one, dwell more on the question of why Pharaoh allowed himself to be so hardened that in the faith of what must have been the obvious and correct choice, let the people go. He still refused. How could someone become so self-deceived? What kind of warnings should we take from this for ourselves about how we can truly get too hardened in sin that yeah, in sin that we make utterly disastrous decisions when the correct decision and the right path have been right before us the whole time. What other Bible characters have made the same kind of error? Think, for example, of Judas. Number two, at one point, amid the devastation that Pharaoh had brought upon his own land and people, he declared, I have sinned this time. The Lord is the righteous one, and I and my people are the wicked ones. Exodus 9:27. Though a wonderful confession of sin at the time, how do we know that it wasn't a genius one? Yeah, wasn't a genius one. There are inside the story. My favorite, Strange and the Silent World by Andrew McChenney. No one in town had ever converted to Christianity, and the townspeople burned with anger when Kokila's father and the four other families decided to keep the seventh day Sabbath. Kokila was 9 and her life changed forever. Kokila's mother had died when she was a baby, and she lived with her father, four older sisters, and one older brother in southern Asia. Father, an impoverished, impoverished farmer, was barred from working in the field after he started to keep the Sabbath. He and the other Sabbath keepers also were forbidden from buying food in shops. In addition, town leaders announced that anyone who spoke to the Sabbath keepers would have to pay a large fine. As a result, neighbors neighbors refused to talk to Kokila and her family. Kokila also didn't talk to her neighbors, so nobody wanted to pay the fine. Kokila's had many friends, and she lost them all. It was a strange and silent world for the girl. When father refused to give up his faith, neighbors turned violent. They angrily swooped down on Kokila's home, scooping up furniture, clothing, and dishes and dumping them on the street. They also beat her father and brother. One neighbor, however, proved to be a bright light during that dark time. He also wasn't Christian, but he didn't belong to the same major world religion that the townspeople did. He helped Kokila's family to buy rice. Yeah.